From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 219 of the Blind Android Users podcast. We're recording today on Saturday, February the 15th, 2025. I'm Warren, hiding here in snowy Washington.
And I'm John Dyer, coming to you from Virginia.
Heading to one from Lebanon.
And this is Salih Kunduz coming from Samsun, Turkey.
Coming up in this episode, we have recorders. That's in our Android basics. We're taking a look at what the state of recorders, that is audio recorders, are in the year 2025. In our spotlight, we take a look at what Google is cooking with Android 16 Beta 2, and also we'll be mentioning in passing the first post-sales update to the Galaxy S25 series. And then to close this episode, we'll be magnifying it with a magnifier, as John demonstrates, a magnifying app for those of you who still have usable sight. Sally, let's get started with you, my boy. What's going on? I know it's Valentine's Day yesterday, and I knew you were looking forward to it. I was hoping I'm going to hear some good news. What's up with that?
Well, I'm doing great. This week's been a lots of ups and downs. The first half of the week, it was very cold, like down to 2 degrees, sometimes zero, and now it's 10. I don't know what's going on with this weather. So one another good thing is that I got myself an S25 Plus, so I'm a happy boy right now.
Nice. But then how about the Valentine, though? Are you skipping around that Valentine thing, or you don't want?
Well, every day is a Valentine's Day for me.
Karen, is he hiding it from you, or what's going on?
Well, he found that he wouldn't find any girl, so he gifted himself an S25 Plus, and he celebrated Valentine alone yesterday. but he didn't want to state the truth, so this is the point.
I love it. Well, if you can find whatever, some virtual stuff will do it, right? Yeah, well, so Karen, how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Actually, things are good here. We are expecting snow next week. I hope so. Actually, I hope that we will really get snow. It's expected that the temperature will drop below zero on Friday or Saturday. So it's going to be very cold here. But yeah, it's winter, and I love winter. And everything's going well here.
Wonderful. John, what's going on? You got some new virtual stuff like Sally, or no?
No, not this week. I had to take a break from spending money. But it was a good week. It was a long week. Ashley's been sick, and then my son got a little sick as well. I think I avoided it somehow. So keeping my fingers crossed there, but yeah, he was out of school most of the week, so it seemed longer than normal. What about you? How was your week?
Yeah, you know what? It seems maybe something going on. My wife also, Julia, has a little cold, and she's been coughing. Well, actually, it started last weekend, and so she was home. Actually, she didn't even go to school on both Monday and Tuesday. And but she still coughs at nights, and it just kind of keeps one awake. And then I kind of get startled, and then and it's just, I'm so tired this morning because last night she was coughing a little bit more. But it's kind of funny, sometimes she's not coughing, and then now she's coughing again. It's just kind of crazy. But this morning she's feeling better, so that's all that's going on, and the little white stuff is out there, and it's a good looking thing out there. And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Well, let's now move on to our Android Basics segment, and we're talking about the state of recorders in 2025. Sally, let's get started with you. Who's your darling when it comes to audio recorders, and has anything changed?
Well, the recorder is all about how well your phone can record the audio, and some apps are real good and some apps are just lost in time. My favorite back in the days was the HiQ MP3 Recorder when I first started using Android. Then they changed the developer, right? There was another developer, and then another developer purchased it, or I don't know how was the process. I was still using it, but then I switched to ASR. And what I like for recorders is using the widget just to record real fast and stop in the same time. Just one button widgets on the home screen. It really helps a lot if you want to record it. So I'm going with ASR.
So talking about ASR, does it support, I know that one of them does, either Easy Recorder or ASR. I mean, these have been there, going back to maybe 2011, 2014, whatever, somewhere back then. In other words, they've been around for like a decade or better. Now, does this support Bluetooth recording? Because some do and some don't. And
ASR is able to record using Bluetooth headset. You can change the recording source, so you can use the Bluetooth headset.
Yeah. What's like, is it like 8 kilobit for the quality? I mean, what's the quality like? I know some of the Bluetooth ones or the Bluetooth support is not quite as good. How good is this? I haven't tried it in a while. I know that.
The thing is, it still records in the same recording presets that you did for recorders, but the voice quality is a little down, of course. So I don't exactly know what it's the exact bit rate, but still, mine using the Huawei FreeBuds Pro, it records fine. It's not perfect, but still it's okay.
Now, you mentioned the HiQ recorder, the MP3 recorder. And so out of the blue, I thought the sky was falling because I saw them dropping an update that was a couple days or so ago. And I was surprised that HiQ MP3 recorder had an update. Now, I must say that there's something that I'm not liking about it. And for example, it will not let me use it without giving it notification permissions. Did you see that at your end, Sally, or you didn't update yet?
I didn't update it yet, but I mean, this is no good at all. HiQ was updated like in 2021, the last time, I guess, and I think some things are broken. The storage system of new Android systems, they say, you cannot find the recordings like you used to, and you just need to share with other apps to make any adjustments or things like that.
Why won't you let it give you notifications?
Well,
Because
what
it
does
doesn't
it
like
need?
it.
What does it need notifications
It's just for
for?
play controls, probably. Like, so you could record and
I think it needs
stuff
it just
from the
to
notification.
show you it's the
Yeah,
process
well,
of the
so
recording.
here,
It's not gonna like advertise to you when you're not
but
using the app.
I'm kind of a little bit paranoid when it comes to notifications. So here, I got it in my hand. I want to show you guys.
HiQ.
I don't know if you guys can hear
HiQ.
my.
List.
Okay,
Button.
so here, if I tap on
Record.
record,
Permissions required. Navigate up.
yeah. So see,
Allows HiQ MP3 Recorder to capture audio from the device's microphone or external microphone.
yeah, that I
Okay,
gave it. I
need
gave
to
it
do
that one.
that.
Yeah, no, that
Do
one
that
is
for the
fine. But
recording.
here's this one.
Post notifications.
Yeah.
Allows HiQ MP3 Recorder to store the recordings on the shared storage on your device. We do not access any photos or other media files.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but why would you need notifications in order to be able to?
Warren,
it should be a
due
file
to
access.
Warren, due to the new restrictions in Android that are affecting the background recording, so I think this is the reason why recorders are asking for the notification. So it'll keep having this notification, and I think this should help in the background recording, because it won't stop like when it's doing the recording. So I think it's necessary.
And
Yeah,
this
but-
might actually be the reason why they haven't updated it in so long, because they didn't want to have to use the new API that required this, but they can. I mean, obviously, I'm just guessing here, but you know, when something hasn't been updated for 4 years and you go to update it, you're going to be using a new API and you're going to need different permissions, most likely.
Yeah, but my other recorders don't need notifications. I mean, this says it needs notifications in order to access storage. No, that goes under file access. Notification doesn't need, file access.
Maybe it's a mistake in what they are writing about it, but actually notifications have nothing to do with the access, storage access. That's obvious actually. But I think that they said this by mistake. Maybe they just used this.
I believe so too.
Wording.
I think it
so,
was
yeah.
wrong terminology, and I actually was going to write a little something about it on the Play Store. I'm like, what do you mean by needing notification for file access? I've never seen such a
Just
thing.
tell
That's
you
ridiculous.
I have a feeling it's just for play controls, so they should just tell you it's for play controls.
You know, it's just like
Yeah,
Karim said, it's
exactly.
just to stay in the background, and it needs the constant notification pinned in your notification drawer.
No, I don't mind it, if you want to be able to control it, like maybe in the notification shade, like, you want to pause the recording because it's going to show up there and all of that. I understand that, but don't tell me you need that because you're going to have a file access. That's just wrong.
I mean, just allow it.
Yeah, I'll allow it, well.
Yeah,
You're
thank
only
you.
giving it the permission that it asked for. It's not. It doesn't matter what they tell you you're doing.
So I was kind of a little bit, I'm like, well, I'm not going to use it for the time being, but at least it's there, it's being updated. And I think you have to be in the beta in order to be able to get that update. So if you want that update, I think that was February 10th or somewhere in there that the update came through. So if you want that, you want to make sure that you join the beta.
And if you're in the beta, maybe send them some feedback about the wording of this permission, so they can get it fixed before public release.
That's right. Because where's the developer from? Indonesia, right? I think so.
I think it was Singapore.
No. He's I think it's Indonesia or Malaysia, one of those. I know it's not from Singapore. It's one of the two. I'm almost positive it's Indonesia, but somewhere in there. Yeah. Karen, you remember where the developer's from?
Let me check
No.
though.
Yeah. So John, let's talk about you, man. I know you like the big one that has everything. You use that thing a lot, isn't it? What is it called? AudioLab?
AudioLab, yeah. You already knew the answer. So that's literally what I use to record everything that I record. Even my demos on the podcast, I record it with that. So yeah, I don't really explore other options. Sometimes, like, I'll test the default recorders that come with different phones just to see what they sound like, what their options are, and that sort of thing. But as far as like third-party, download from the store apps, AudioLab works great for me.
Let's talk about some of the features that you like in AudioLab, John. Does it, for example, I know some people like to have that access to Bluetooth recording. For me, though, it's not a deal breaker because Bluetooth recordings, in my never to be humble opinion, are not all that great. So I don't naturally bother with those. Do you find yourself
like
using
garbage.
it? Does it have it?
It does have it. I've
Okay.
seen a switch for it, so I couldn't even tell you if it actually works because I know I have no interest in recording over Bluetooth, but yeah, it is there. They also have options for, obviously you could choose the format, the bitrate, all that, but you can also choose echo cancellation, noise cancellation, skip silence. So, if you pause while you're recording, they can automatically cut that part out. Might be a couple other features I'm not remembering, but yeah, it does have a good amount of options.
Another good thing about a good recorder, at least in my eyes, is the fact that, such a recorder should have maybe a raw recording, for example, a stereo recording and all of that. That's one of the things that I first look for in a recorder, to make sure that that raw recording is supported, or at least it has that stereo recording. I know the the HiQ MP3 recorder does, and then the AudioLab does as well, doesn't it? I purchased AudioLab, but I haven't been using it, and that's to my shame. But does it have stereo recording? I know both you and Karen use it.
Yeah, it does. I use stereo recording when I'm doing an unboxing. If I'm just doing a regular demo, I record in mono, but yeah, it does give you the option.
Yeah. Karen, girl, who's your baby when it comes to audio recorders? I mean, the one that you really put your arms around and say, I love you, little one. Which one is it?
Of course, it's ASR. Actually, maybe Saleh started using it because of me, or maybe people do that because of me. Actually, because
Exactly,
I like this.
Karine. Yeah.
You see, ASR and ACR.
Yeah, you were too good to tell me those two apps. Like ASR phone is my favorite right now. Like imagine I got my new phone. The very first two apps that I installed was Nova Launcher and ACR.
Oh, you see, I'm a good friend.
Yeah, exactly. You are.
Well, actually, for people who don't know, ACR is also developed by the same developer of ASR, so the same people actually. I use ASR since 2013. It was so much different than how it is now, but it's still really a good app. It has developed and improved a lot. It's really it's the go-to recorder. I think you find nearly everything that you could everything that you want to have in a recorder. Well, the things that I like most about ASR. The recording profiles, where you can assign certain settings to profiles, and you just choose the profile that you want to use according to the case that you are in. For example, you can set a profile for just to use mono recording and to use MP3, for example. Another profile to use internal recording, another profile to use stereo recording, or to change the source of the microphone that is used. So this is one of the great features. Another feature, the feature that Saleh talked about, which is the ability to just record from the home screen, which is just, it's a pro feature. It's not in the free version. Actually, ASR is free, but you have, to get the additional stuff, you have to purchase the pro version. But I think you will not regret it if you purchase ASR. Another thing is the amount of settings that you can change. You can change the source of recording, the bitrate, the silence removal, another thing, and you can also convert files after you record them. You can also delete the recording if you don't want to continue. For example, you are recording and then you decide to discard the recording. You can just discard it before saving it. So it has everything to be like. I know I'm just so much into this app, and one thing I like about it. Actually, one thing that I really like about it is the developer, because those people just think really about accessibility. And I remember, and which is something that I really appreciate, when they did an overhaul of the UI, I received from them the beta the beta version, before it was even in the Play Store. And I was able to report accessibility issues, and they just fixed stuff before the app was launched officially in the Play Store. So this was really something great at their end, and I really appreciate what they did, actually.
I think what I like the most about the app is the name. Isn't it just another screen recorder?
Another
Is that what
sound
ASR
recorder.
stands?
Another
Oh,
sound
okay.
recorder.
Yeah, that's what I meant. A sound recorder.
I
It's
love
a
love
very,
it.
it's a very
I
humble.
love it,
it's a very
John.
humble name.
It's
for
I
cool.
think we
It's
should
cool.
have it the way. That's beautiful. Now, by the way, I think those guys are from the Netherlands, right? I think so. The ASR guys.
Either
Or is it Easy
Netherlands
Recorder?
or UK. I think he might be British, but I'm not sure.
Is the Easy Recorder also from there? Because these are probably
Easy's
the
from
two oldest
Canada.
ones. Easy Recorders is a
Yeah,
Canadian.
they're from Canada, and what's good about Easy Voice Recorder is that if you get an OpenAI account with an API credentials, you can convert them to text. Like you can transcribe your voice recordings.
ASR has this feature as well, but I don't know what they use to do the transcription. If you should like provide your own API key or something, I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
should
really.
provide your own API key. That's right.
Okay, I didn't try it actually.
And it's
to be
really
honest.
costly. So if you want to transcribe your audio recordings, the best go-to app would be Samsung's voice recorder.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Or the lousy Google Recorder. I mean, maybe Google will cut my head off, but but so
Or the OnePlus recorder, they have it too. Although they might just use, well, if it's not completely separate, it's based off of Google's recorder, but they do also allow you to transcribe in that app.
yeah. So sometimes formats is what makes someone choose a particular recording app, right? So does it support MP3? Does it support FLAC and all of that? I think that most of them support FLAC. I hardly record in the FLAC format myself. I tend to prefer like MP3 or
You love Wave, don't you?
yeah. I just don't like I mean the FLAC thing, but I know it's a deal breaker for some, but for me, I don't really care. But I think all of these three, don't they support FLAC? I know that the HiQ MP3 recorder supports FLAC. And do you know if both Easy Recorder and ASR support FLAC?
Yeah, ASR does.
Another recorder that I've been playing with, like I said, I have lots of those things, and sometimes they're kind of lost in the background. The Parrot, I know that one is a Canadian one for sure from the Toronto area. But they think that they are the best recording app in the world. It does have some nice things about it. However, it's a subscription thing, or you can buy a lifetime as well. But has any of you tried it? It has like a testing thing that it tests the device and all of that to see the best optimization for your phone and things like that. So it's a Parrot, Parrot. Did you try that, Karen, or you just stay with the devil that you know?
No, I didn't try it. I tried after you finished talking about this. I remembered one recorder that we should talk also about. But yeah, after you finish talking about this.
Yeah, so this is there too. The Parrot is there if you want it. Just keep in mind that you could. It's a subscription based, or you could buy a lifetime subscription and all of that. But it's so hard to find a good recorder, but these that we've talked about, I don't think anyone can go wrong with any of these, especially the ones that have been there. The ASR, the Easy Recorder, and then that AudioLab. I think AudioLab is probably the newer one out of those two, isn't it?
There comes the question: do you guys remember the Dolby On?
Yeah, it's still there.
This is the one that I was going to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah, Karina.
Well, you guys have the
It's
same.
still there. It's still there, actually.
Yeah. So let's talk about Dolby, Karen.
Well, Dolby On was created by the guys of Dolby. You know, you all know Dolby Atmos and the audio, Dolby audio and stuff. So the point about it is not the number of settings that you will find, because you will not find a lot of settings actually. And I think the last time that I tried it, it didn't even have any extension or formats. It just had wave. So you don't have a lot. But the point about it is that it states that it gives you the quality. It's able to get a lot of out of your device, out of your mix. And actually, to be honest, during my test, it was really doing well. It's meant for people who are just recording music, recording like professionally. So they try really to do something about it. I don't use it right now because.
Karen, here's the bad news. The last time the app was updated was October 9th, 2023.
Well, okay. Yeah. But I think that it's not discontinued. At least they didn't announce it. Did they announce anything about it?
I don't know. There's some suddenly.
So it's safe to assume that it still only records in wave.
Yeah.
Well, look at HiQ MP3 Recorder was what back in 2021 in the fall that it was updated, and then we saw nothing until.
What I want to know is
2-3 days ago.
How they knew what we were going to talk about this weekend, because they knew we were going to call them out for that.
Yeah.
And not having an update in 5 years, and all of a sudden, there's an update. Somebody must be listening to the show.
They have to, because they're reading our minds.
Well, John, you know what? They have a relation with China, and because the app is on Warren's phone, and the Chinese government is interested about.
That's exactly right. They know how to get mic access without asking for mic access, and they've heard everything.
And I was talking about DeepSeek. Probably.
I think I can understand those developers, because if you're developing an audio recorder app, you don't need to update it every month, right? I mean, if your app is working fine, I mean, you just need to comply with the procedures of Google and update it once in a while.
Yeah, that's why I have the feeling like they were very happy with the app, and they just, had to update it because of some new API they had to target or something.
I think that a lot of times, though, some apps, even though they are old, they still work. And I mean, I'm looking at some apps that I have from long time ago. They still work. However, they don't work on my newer devices. But like you guys said, if these things are still working, it means it works with the new APIs. And so let's talk about the ease of a recording. Which one do you think is the easiest to use? I think one of the pluses for the HiQ MP3 recorder is probably the ease of use, wouldn't you say?
I guess it depends on what you mean by ease of recording, because if you just want like a quick way to get a recording started, I guess your best bet would be to, either use the one that comes with your phone and assign it to a lock screen shortcut. So just have like record note there on your lock screen, and then have it open up the Pixel recorder or the Galaxy recorder.
And I want to ask you a question. What do you mean by it's the easiest one among the others? I mean, what does it offer in terms of ease of recording or starting the recording?
Yeah. So what I mean is, for example, which one is not complicated? Some recorders are kind of so complicated, has lots of settings and all of that. But then the ease of use, for example. Is it easy to find a record button? Is it easy to find the stop button? Because, for you and I, guys, these things, it's like second nature. But let's say someone who's just getting started. Which one do you think would be easier for someone who's just getting started with audio recorders?
not AudioLab, because
Yeah,
when you, it's not. Huh? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree because
I agree
I
too.
can tell you
Yeah.
that because every time you have to choose your settings, like it's not just the first of all, it's not only an audio recorder. So the first thing you have to do is select that you're going to record audio. Then you're brought to a page where you have to choose all. I mean, it remembers your defaults and stuff, but you still have to, at the very least, confirm your settings, and then it'll take you to a page where there's an actual record button. So yeah, not AudioLab.
Both ASR and Easy Recorder, I think, are kind of simplistic enough, isn't it? And the HiQ 3 also is simplistic. So I think that out of these three, one couldn't go wrong with any of those. But then the AudioLab, though, the fact that it has different things, the whole idea about AudioLab is to be able to manage anything audio or even using video and all of that. It's like a Swiss Army knife of anything audio related,
Yeah.
or it's just, I don't know. John, you use that more than I do, but that's how I look at AudioLab.
It could do a lot, but you don't really even need to record. Like if you want to record somewhere else, it'll just you can go into AudioLab to do the editing or the conversion or whatever it is you want to do, post recording. So you don't have to use AudioLab to record, but because it was there, I tried it out one day and I was like happy with the results. So I was like, I guess I don't need an actual recorder app installed.
Yeah. So overall, not much has changed. They've maintained their quality in every aspect of the word, and then the fact that they keep them updated, I think that's a good thing. It's just when they kind of fall out of update, but yet in the same breath, if they still work, then I think it is good to stick to it. But like I said, though, for me, I think I like apps that have been there for a long time and they're keeping up with it. That's a plus, and one that one could recommend without, feeling ashamed or anything like that.
Well, another app that, or two apps actually, that I want to mention, Advanced Audio Recorder. I will give you the link for the show notes. It's not updated frequently, but it's also a good one. It also supports FLAC for those who like FLAC. It also supports internal recording, like ASR as well. But with all of these recorders, you can't record at the same time with internal recording and with the mic. So you have to choose one. I think it's a limitation. It's an Android limitation. It's not related to the app itself. Yeah, it's a good one for anyone who likes to give it a try. And another app that I want to mention, it's no longer in the Play Store, but I don't know. I feel like the people behind the app were just trying to make it very accessible to the point that they just broke the whole experience. Do you remember the app by Stereo Match? Amazing thing. What
the Stereo Match guy. Well, I think he fell into China or something. I think I still have that app somewhere in my library if it's still there. He had two of them, but I think Google just gave him, because it was kind of like a little bit redundant in my never to be humble opinion, of course. He had the amazing audio recorder, or what was it called? I don't remember.
Yeah,
and then he had another one.
The name. I think that was the name. Well, they overcomplicated things. They made the uncomplicated complicated. Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, they were trying to put themselves in trouble. I still remember when we were just trying to convince them to add a discard recording button, and they were people could just press the button and by mistake. I was like, okay, but you could just put a confirmation of the person just confirms without knowing what the person is doing. Then okay. What should we do for that? Yeah, what they added it at the end, but after a lot of discussion.
Yeah, so the guy used to be on IS-Free, back in the IS-Free days, and the thing that kind of bothered me with it is that we kept telling him, just make the app follow the Android conventions. It's just so complicated. Why do we need that? simplify the process of the settings or whatever, arrange that. But the whole thing was so cluttered that, frankly, even though I bought it, back then, the MP3 thing was like $3.99 or whatever to be able to get MP3 access and all of that. But then I got it, and to be honest, I never even once did a recording with that app because it just was a little bit complicated. And I think part of it was, did it support phone recording back then? I think it did, wasn't it? Do you remember, Karen?
They did a lot of experiments. I think one of them was the phone recording, but it wasn't really something that was workable. I think it didn't work. I mean, they just were doing experiments, and I think they used to keep the app in alpha stage for forever. It was really trouble.
Yeah, and I think the guy is from the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where, or at least one of those Eastern European blocks, but I'm positive he was from the Ukraine. But yeah, that's no longer on there. I know he had two of them. I don't remember the name of the other one, but Google made him get rid of the other one because in so many ways they're like one and the same app. And so Google kind of tends to frown on duplicated apps, for example. And so I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, but something that we should say, just I personally appreciate what he tried to do. Yeah, he didn't do it the right way, but I really appreciate that he was always trying to get feedback from blind people, and he was trying always to make the app like accessible as much as possible. I know that it wasn't really the right thing regarding the implementation, but he really tried a lot, and he was really like devoted to making the app as much accessible as it could be. So this just deserves a lot of appreciation.
Yeah, no question about that. Because he was interacting directly with us, and he was taking suggestions. And then when you do things like that, it's good. But then you have others asking of this, and it just kind of leaves the guy overwhelmed because someone wants it in a particular way. Someone said, no, I want it this way. And I can see where it becomes a problem sometimes when we're that wide open, which is a good thing. But then everyone has their own little pet peeve, and it just kind of leaves the developer to a confusion, in my never to be humble opinion, because which one should you implement and which one should you not implement? But yeah, I think to his credit, he was listening to us and was always there. But I don't know what happened. He fell into China. Time for someone to go dig him up. Karen, you want to find out where he's at and let us know?
You are great at these things, especially if he fell into China. You have just speak into your phone, and they will reply you and tell you where he is.
Oh boy! So yeah, but yeah, seriously, that was another great developer. But so that one is gone by the wayside. But it was a great app, and frankly, I probably still have it. I'll look it up in my Play Store library and see if it's still there. But gosh, that would be a lot of digging, because the one thing I don't like about the Play Store, say you go into your library, they should have a search to search my library. I don't know why someone failed to do something that's simplistic.
Because this is Google at the end of the day, so they just forget about basic things sometimes.
They're only a search company. Why would they implement that feature?
Yeah, well, you think that would be the focus, since they're a search
it's literally
company.
probably the easiest thing for them to do, but they just haven't done it.
Yeah, so let's cry about it. I don't like that feeling. You have hundreds, literally hundreds of apps that you've installed over the years, and you're scrolling and scrolling. There should be a search there near the top that I could just look for what I'm looking for in my library.
Well, that reminds me of Hangouts. Do you remember Hangouts, the app that they were trying to make it the go-to messaging service?
And Hangouts was good. I like Hangouts, to be honest.
But back then, when they started, it was so much difficult to go and compose a message, like to try to create a new chat. It wasn't that easy at all. It was like you have to do a lot of stuff to be able to do this basic thing. Although the app was good, but they just complicate stuff in a way that I don't understand. Why do they do this, actually?
And you know what? It still shows up in my Google folder because I never uninstalled it or whatever. And even on my new phones, there's a Hangouts in there in my Google folder. Believe it or not.
Can you start it? Does it work if you start, or does it ask you to replace it with something else?
I didn't even bother to try it. So it's interesting. I'm going to try it to see what happens, but it's still there in my Google folder. Oh boy, yeah, Hangouts. I mean, they meant well with Hangouts. So let's be honest. If they'd done it well, it would have been like a hub for everything messaging. But it's Google. You know, we jump on these things and then they throw it out. There's no end inside.
That giveth and taketh away, right?
Exactly. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So that's Google. The Lord's from Google giveth and taketh away.
Well, going back to recorders, one final thing from my side actually is related to the new, restrictions that are in Android, especially regarding background recording and background microphone use access and thing. So it's important, I think, to always allow the app unrestricted access, the recorder app that you use, especially if you are planning, or if the recording that you do needs like turning off the screen and recording in the background. So it's important so you don't end up with a recording that didn't continue, which is an incomplete recording. It's important just to allow it to have unrestricted battery access, so it's not killed, and you are just reassured that you won't lose the recording while you just think that you are recording, but you find out at the end that nothing was recorded, or that a part of the recording wasn't there. So it's important to do this because, Android is just having more and more restrictions on the background activities of apps and on microphone usage access.
Some of them will have that in the settings to allow that even when the screen is off. So if you're looking into a recorder, check those settings to make sure as well. And also that battery, especially Samsung is more aggressive with the battery thing. If you're using a Samsung device, you want to make sure you give it that unrestricted stuff. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. Moving along, let's turn on now to the Spotlight segment, and we're talking about Android 16 Beta 2 that dropped on Thursday, the 13th, right, John? Yesterday was Valentine. Valentine is the 14th. That tells you I celebrate a lot of Valentines, I don't care about Valentine. But so we got that on Thursday, and not much in the way of new things. They add maybe a thing or two or change this and move this here and there. The only one thing that I kind of probably like the most has to do with the widget that you can bring onto your home screen so you can easily switch profiles. For example, if you have a work profile or you have two different accounts on your device, it's easy to now switch to the one that you want from the widget on the home screen. You just bring it to your home screen. I think for me, that's the one that stands out. There's another one, right, John? The power button. The one with the power button.
Okay. Yeah, so now they'll let you assign it to Google Wallet also instead of if you don't want to go to camera when you double press the power button, but they still don't let you choose what you want to set it to. You have two options now, camera or Google Wallet.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if we choose what we wanted to do with it? But I don't know how many times have I used that thing for my camera. I haven't. And besides, I could just add a shortcut to the camera on the lock screen to where I could just launch it, and the same thing with the wallet. But, if one wants to use that hardware, it's there. And another thing, though, that has changed is we're talking about Google here. They're always constantly moving things. So you guys remember the extra dim of the screen was like in the accessibility area. It seems like they've moved it again to the display area. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it sounds from what I read, they're integrating it in with the actual brightness slider or something. I don't know if that's in the... I still haven't installed it, as you can tell. But I don't know if it's in the actual quick settings or if it's in the display settings itself. But yeah, they've moved it around, which, I mean, it's good. I mean, I think it should be in both places. I don't know if they've removed it from the accessibility settings, but putting it in the regular display settings does make it more discoverable for more people.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. So, Google keep changing these things, but I think those are probably some of the most important changes with this beta 2 and all of that. And if you are jumping onto the beta, then you have it.
There's also the one that's related to enabling sensitive permissions when you are in a phone call. I think it's a good one for people who could be victims of scam calls. So it's important, I think, to have this enabled for those people. So the point is that right now, if you are in a call in this beta, I think it's live in the beta that was released this week.
Yeah.
So if you are in a call and there's and the scammer, or actually, the point is that you can't turn on certain permissions, like the one related to accessibility, to turning on accessibility services. And I think also the other ones that are related to notification access, I mean, not sending notifications, I mean the notification access, and also all of the sensitive permissions that now need the allow restricted settings thing that you have. You can't turn any of these on when you are in a call. And in this way, Google just tries to make sure that the scammer doesn't ask you to install an app like an accessibility service, for example, which is actually something that wants to make your phone inaccessible actually after a while. So it's an attempt to to let you hang up. After you hang up, maybe you will think again and give yourself time before falling really as a victim. So I hope that this will help.
Maybe even these people that would fall for this, they might, like you said, maybe they'll think if the person tells them, I'll call you back in 5 minutes, but what you're going to do while you're off the phone is you're going to have to do this, this, and this, and then I'll call you back, that they're going to be like, okay, this feels a little fishy now.
Oh, maybe they will think that it's slightly complicated. They can do it on their own, so they'll stop. Also, this is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will help some people in the long run. At first, I was like, this is annoying. It's just going to make things difficult. But then when I thought about it, I was like, no, this is a problem. Like, people are falling for this sort of stuff. And, anything that can help that is better.
And to be honest, did you ever launch or give any app this type of settings or this type of permission while you are in a call? I think that we don't do it usually. So actually, we shouldn't be annoyed by this. I mean, usually we don't do that. It happens, but it's not a big deal. You can just hang up and do it and then call again. If you're a regular user, I'm not talking about scams.
Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna affect us for the most part.
Yeah, the problem is there are people out there that fall for this type of things. It's
Mhm.
amazing when you hear the type of things that people do. It's we sit here and we kind of, why on earth would anyone do that? But yeah, they do. And the bad guys, I give the bad guys credit in the sense that they're always thinking ahead of time and wanting to do something
Yeah,
different.
so they're going to come up with something, great excuse for why the person has to hang up and call them back, right? So they're going to continue to try to social engineer, right? Is that what they call it?
Exactly.
Social engineer how to get them to fall for it. But at least it's another possible deterrent.
Well, how about the Samsung guys? You guys have the S25. I wonder if you got that update, the post-sale or post-shipping update that came through as well. I think that was that yesterday or was it on the same day? I think that was yesterday. Did it hit your device yet, John and Sally? I know you just got yours, right?
Well, for me, no, and my device is still appears like having December security patch.
Yeah, same here. Mine, I've not gotten an update yet. I've been wanting an update for a couple reasons. First, because I shouldn't be looking forward to this, but I'm hoping that some of these accessibility issues that I've reported in the beta are going to be fixed in an update. I was hoping they would release one before the phone was officially launched, but that didn't happen. And now that it's out, I still haven't gotten an update. But yeah, I've also heard rumors that it's still going to be in beta for 2 or 3 more betas for a few more months on the S24 series. It's why is that one so far behind? And are they still fixing things? I'm curious if they just kind of released this before it was ready. This is my hope, right? Because I want them to actually address, these bugs that I took the time to write out exactly what was wrong, make screen recordings. I'm kind of pissed about this, right? I submitted good feedback in the first beta, and then we made it through was it 4 or 3? It was months, right? A couple months, and nothing got addressed. So I'm still hoping that it will.
The rumors say that S24 series will be getting it in end of the March.
Okay, so I'm
in April. Actually, I read that too. It wouldn't be before. It won't be before April.
It'll be in April.
And maybe maybe after April. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know why Android
Things are always
15,
changing.
Android 15 is such an Achilles heel for Samsung for some reason. I don't know what the deal is, but it seems like it's been a very difficult project. And yet in the same breath, I think there's one mid-ranger that actually comes out with Android 15 out of the box. On One UI 7.
I've seen the headline for that.
Was
this $150 Samsung phone is gonna have One UI 7 before your S24 Ultra you paid $1,600 for.
Can you imagine that? So, what are you telling the guy to dump off all that moolah? I'm going to give more attention to, one less than $200 phone, and you're still languishing on Android 14. I don't know what the deal is, but these things are just kind of bizarre.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten my update. The other reason I'm looking forward to it, well, not looking forward to it, but I'm curious about it. I want to see how long it takes to install it, because now they're doing the same method that Google uses to install what they call seamless updates. And I want to see, air quotes around seamless, how seamless it is and how long it takes to optimize. I'm curious if it's going to take as long as my Pixel, because I still don't.
Yeah, I'm also super curious for that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of how long Pixel updates take.
Yeah, but actually, since I use a phone that has this seamless update, I didn't receive any major software update. I just received security patches. But I can tell you that although my phone is a mid-ranger, but I'm not when people talk about pixels and how much time they take. What? I don't have any such issue here. It's really quick to do the updating stuff. It's like you don't feel like you are having anything to worry about. It's quick. It doesn't even let you feel like the device is slowing down or anything. So if it's the same on the, it should be the same actually, and it should be better. So I think that you will be pleased by what you will get. But as I said before, I didn't receive any major software update since I received the device. So this could have a difference actually, but it's good.
Well, it probably doesn't have a difference because I can tell you from experience, like it doesn't matter what you're installing on a Pixel. Even if it's just like a 100 megabyte security patch, like it's gonna sit there and optimize for like a half an hour.
Are you serious? Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
Warren will
It
deny
doesn't take.
it,
It doesn't take 5 minutes actually.
Warren will deny it, but yes, I'm serious.
Warren will deny it. Doggone you, bro.
Warren, it takes few
Oh
seconds,
my
right?
God! Well, no, let's be honest. It used to be very bad, but they've improved some. It's not going to be like 5 minutes, whatever. But it's better than what it used to be because prior, oh my gosh, you probably could drive 300 miles. And you're still. But the whole thing though is to be able to use your phone. So while that thing is going on in the background, and I can see why it would take it a while because, if you're using the phone, then it's trying to restart some processes and all of that, and it makes it take time. But at least now we all will be on the same page because the whole idea is that if there's something wrong, nothing is going to happen to your phone. It should just revert back to whatever. But if you're wanting to see what is new and you're being impatient for it, it can be very frustrating. I usually don't pay attention to my stuff when it's updating. I'm just about doing my thing or whatever it is that I'm doing. So I don't pay attention to it. So, but if you are paying attention, it can be frustrating. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. Well, now let's magnify ourselves out of here with the last segment of the day, and that's the magnifying app. And those of you who have some sight and can still use some magnification, John demonstrates such an app in the way of a magnifier.
Hello. Today I'll be demonstrating an app for low vision listeners of the podcast. Anybody who still has some usable sight could find this app or an app like it pretty useful. So the one I'll be demonstrating today is called
Magnifier, magnifying glass.
And of course there are tons of these in the Play Store. So the developer of this specific app is
Studio 360 apps.
And of course, as usual, the link will be in the show notes or video description.
Open button.
I've already installed it, so I'm going to go ahead and open it.
Magnifier. Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
So when you first open the app, the focus is on the viewfinder, and as you heard, it tells you to swipe up and down to zoom in or out, or to swipe left and right to change the exposure. Of course, if you're a TalkBack user, that means to swipe with 2 fingers, or slide 2 fingers. So sliding 2 fingers up the screen will zoom in, and sliding down will zoom out. Now, of course, because this is a magnification app and it uses the camera, it's going to ask you for permissions. I already used this app, so I've granted the permissions to store photos, to have access to my camera and all that. So that should make this demo a little smoother. One thing I want to mention before I get started is that this does have in-app purchases to remove ads, and I have already done that. If my memory serves me correctly, it was probably less than $2. But even before doing that, the ads were not intrusive. They were not full screen ads or anything like that. It was just a banner across the top of the screen that you could ignore if you want to. But being low vision, you might want to get rid of that, because the more screen real estate you have for magnifying, the easier it makes things. But it does not affect the app's functionality if you do not purchase that add-on to remove the ads. So I'm just going to show you what's in the interface. As I mentioned, the viewfinder is in focus. I'm going to swipe right.
Menu. Button.
We have a menu. Then we have
Toggle light. Button.
turn on and off the flashlight.
High contrast. Button.
High contrast. This will cycle through all of the high contrast modes you have enabled, which I'll show you how to change later.
Super zoom. Button.
Super zoom gives you 3 levels of zoom. If you want to just double tap on this, it zoomed in a little bit. It zoomed in a lot. Then on the third, it goes back to normal. So you have options of how you want to zoom.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
So this button is at the bottom center. All of those other buttons previously were along the top. As you heard, you can use this to capture an image or a video. And I'll demonstrate the video thing a little later because that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to go back to the top.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
By top, I didn't mean physically on the screen. I just meant the first item, which is the viewfinder. So I'm going to swipe right from here to get to the menu.
Menu. Button.
And show you what's in the menu.
Magnifier. V.1.2.3.
Version number.
Gallery.
Gallery. This is where you have saved images or videos.
Color modes.
Color modes. I'm going to go in here.
Color modes. Checked. Black on white.
So these are what will show up when you toggle between the high contrast modes. I have this first one enabled.
Checked. White on black.
So I have black on white and white on black. I'm pretty much completely colorblind, so these are the only ones I need, but here are the other options.
Black on yellow. Yellow on black. Blue on white. White on blue. Black on green. Green on black. Save button.
Don't forget to hit this save button if you've customized this, so you can add whatever color filters you want.
Magnifier. Color modes.
And below this,
Gesture controls.
gesture controls. I'm not going to open this because this is the one part of the app that doesn't seem accessible. I think it's just a picture. Well, actually, I'll go in here just to show
Gesture
you.
controls. OK button.
So there's an OK button,
Gesture controls.
and that says gesture controls, and that's it. I think there's a picture here kind of maybe demonstrating how to zoom in and out and that sort of thing.
OK button.
Hitting OK.
Magnifier. Gesture controls.
Below this,
Quick launch.
quick launch. This will let you add it to your quick settings.
Magnifier wants to add the following tile to quick settings. Magnifier wants to add the following tile to quick settings.
I'm going to back out of here because I don't want to add it right now, but this is an option for you.
Magnifier. Quick launch.
Below this,
Send feedback.
where you can send feedback,
Privacy policy.
boring stuff,
Studio 360 apps. Button.
other apps by this developer. That's all that's in the menu, so I'm going to back out and show you how to use it.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
Now, obviously, I'm not showing you because this is only a recording, but I'm sure you can imagine what's happening. I will swipe right.
Menu. Button.
I'm going to look for the filter because I usually like white on black.
Toggle light. Button. High contrast. Button.
I'm going to hit this until it does it for me. So now this is the mode I wanted on. Everything seems to be dark with white text. Now I'm just aiming it at my keyboard. And I'm looking from key to key. And of course, sliding 2 fingers up or down will adjust the zoom, and then sliding them left and right will adjust the exposure to kind of get the contrast you want or to get the items to show up that you want. And then I'm going to swipe right.
Super zoom button.
I explained this earlier, but I don't need it right now because I'm at the level I want to take a photo, if you want to take a photo.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
So I'm going to double tap here to show you what happens. And now what's happened is I have two options. If I swipe left,
Share button.
share. So if you want to share this to an app like Be My Eyes or something like that, you can. Back to the right to go back to that shutter button, and then right again to show you the other option.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image. Save button.
Save, and this will save it into a folder. The default folder is inside Pictures and then Studio 360, and that's where by default these will all be saved. But I'm not going to save this. I'm going to back out.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back to the shutter button.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
I call it a shutter button, but it's not. So let's say you want to, and I'm going to show you why you would want to record a video. So this is just an example because I'm on my keyboard. Say I want to see what all the function keys are, whether they're volume, brightness, media controls, so on. I could record a video of it. So what you do is, now that I'm on this button, you I have it focused on like the escape key. I'm going to double tap and hold. And then I'm going to move the phone from left to right across all the keys till I get to like around F12, and I'm going to release. And what that's done, I'm going to swipe left 2 times.
Share button. 50%. Preview seek bar. Slider.
There's a slider here, and it starts it at 50%, so it's like halfway through the video, if you want to even think of it as a video. So it's showing like around the F6, F7 key. And now if I want to move left and right along the function keys row, I just adjust this slider. So I could do it either way. It works both ways with TalkBack. You can swipe up or down with one finger.
45%. 40%.
So that's slowly moving the image left. And of course, you can also double tap and hold. I'm going to do that. Move all the way to the
47%.
left.
9%. 0%.
So now it's showing the escape key. And if my finger is still held on the screen, if I move it to the right,
21%. 72%. 99%.
it goes all the way across.
100%.
And now it's on like the F12 key. So, and of course, if I swipe right 3 times,
Share. Tap to freeze image or save button.
or if you just touch near the bottom right, that's the save button.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
So it's taken me back to the main screen, and what it's done is it saved it to my camera roll, and I'm going to show you how I can go back to it later.
Menu button. Magnifier. V.1.2.3. Gallery.
The gallery and the menu.
Magnifier. Navigate up button. Unlabeled.
Now these are unfortunately unlabeled, but you can save them here and you can open them up again. So
Magnifier. 50%. Preview seek bar. Slider.
So now you could just go into your gallery and look at what you've saved instead of actually having to point it at that object every single time. So if you just wanted to quickly see, you know, like maybe the lights are off and you're on your computer, obviously, and you want to remember what key is the right key, you could just bring this up, slide that slider to the right position of the key you want to look at. And if you even want to use Android's built-in magnifier, screen magnifier, to zoom in further, you can. So that concludes this demonstration. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, John, for that demonstration. And do you use this often, John, or you don't use it a lot?
So I do use this a lot, and the reason I use it, because I also wanted to mention that if you have a Galaxy phone or a Pixel phone, they have very similar magnification apps. I think you might have to download the Pixel one from the store, but I'm not sure. But they do have one specifically designed for Pixels, and then Samsung has a magnifier built into their operating system, but now that I'm using the OnePlus, I had to find a third-party solution, and this is the one I landed on. So I do use this a lot on my OnePlus phone, although when I'm on a Pixel or a Samsung, I just use their standard magnifier. So I did want to mention that both of those are pretty decent and have similar features as far as the color filters and that sort of thing. And another thing I wanted to mention is just there's an app called WeZoom, one word WeZoom. That's actually probably my favorite, but the reason I can't use it is because, or the reason it bugs me is because it forces your phone into landscape. And the reason that's a problem for me is because I use angle gestures and talkback. And so while you can still hold it in portrait to magnify, it's acting like it's in landscape. So when you, like, say I go down and back angle gesture to go back, it thinks I'm going right and down, and it pulls down the notification say instead. So it like forces your phone into landscape even though you're not holding it in landscape, and that bothers me personally. Now, if you're just a low vision user that doesn't use talkback, or you don't use angle gestures in talkback, that might not bother you at all. So this is an app worth checking out also. It's more customizable in that you can even assign the volume keys to do certain things like freeze the frame or switch the color filter and that sort of thing.
All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. And with that, we're magnifying ourselves out as we come to the end of today's episode. John is giving you information on how to get hold of us. And here's John to give you that information.
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers+subscribe@groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much, John, for that information. Well, guys, that concludes it for this week. We're looking forward to seeing you next week, God willing. From me, I want to say goodbye, and I hope that you guys had a wonderful Valentine's Day. And if you're in the US, I think we have President's Day coming up on Monday.
Have a great week, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Have a great week, everyone.